Hello and welcome to the Fabulous at 50 podcast, celebrating a vibrant global community of women over 50 through entertaining interviews that will inspire, educate, and empower. Your host, Joanne Neweduk, was born to nurture and promote vibrance. Joanne is both the Community Director for Calgary, Canada, and oversees the global operations for Fabulous at 50. As an oncology nurse, integrative practitioner in multiple modalities, life skills mentor, and manager, Joanne moves people from challenging situations to positive outcomes through the use of her innate gifts and learned skills. Here's your host, Joanne Neweduk. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. I am so excited to be talking to you today and to be having a wonderful conversation with Roberta Scott. Roberta and I met over 3 years ago through the Fabulous at 50 organization because she came on as the director of Toronto and surrounding area in Ontario. And although we have not met each other in person, we've had many a Zoom call, and I truly feel the sisterhood that we have. So before we get started, and before I bring you on, Roberta, I got a hold of your bio, and I just want to share what you've been up to because it is quite impressive. So you're just going to have to wait for just a moment before I bring you on and we get having our wonderful conversation here. Roberta is a single mother to her wonderful 12-year-old son, Jesse. Is it Jess or Jesse?
Jesse.
Hey, Jesse, I got it right. Yep. Sorry for just a moment. I thought I might have messed that up. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology from the University of Toronto in 1983, and then went back to school again to embark on a challenging and rewarding 32-year career as an advanced care paramedic in Toronto. Wow, I just cannot imagine what you have seen over the years. She has been happily retired for 2 years now. Way to go. It's lovely to be retired. On top of her demanding career, Roberta always finds time to give back and to help others who are less fortunate. She has received numerous awards for her volunteer and community work. Some highlights include being awarded Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal from the Paramedic Association of Canada in 2012 for distinguished contributions to her community and her profession, and the Ontario Paramedic Association Exemplary Service Award in 2016. Roberta is past Vice President of the Ontario Paramedic Association and was the PR and Media Director for the Toronto Paramedic Association for 15 years. You have definitely been very involved with this incredible profession. Her life passions include, besides raising her son, of course, a love of nature, animals, gardening, physical fitness, and mindfulness. Roberta believes for true happiness, it is essential to live a physically active and mentally engaging lifestyle filled with meaning and purpose. And she wants to help and inspire others do the same. Roberta believes that our personal growth and development should never stop, and that our lives should be more and more exciting along the journey. That we should always look forward to the new opportunity of adventure. A new chapter in our life can always provide the potential to help us to become our best and most authentic self. So there is absolutely zero question in my mind why you were the ideal candidate and ideal director for Fabulous at 50 in Toronto. That explains so well really what Fab at 50 stands for. So welcome to our show today, Roberta.
Thanks, Joanne. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So let's just start off. I've already mentioned that, I think, wow, you're a fantastic fit for Fabulous at 50. What drew you to the organization?
Yeah, very good question. So I was in my early 50s when I discovered Fabulous at 50. And I found that once I got into my early 50s, 51, 52, it really opened up a whole it's hard to describe it. It opened up a whole chapter in front of me that I knew was going to be an interesting adventure. And I wanted to find out what other women in their 50s were thinking and doing. So I actually just looked up women in their 50s, found the website. And when I discovered, I'm like, this is amazing. This is fabulous. Like, I loved it. It just showed me its wonderful, creative picture of what women are doing in their 50s. And from there, I just, I read the blogs, I looked at the website, and I was fascinated by that organization. And I thought, I'd love to be a part of that. And
Fantastic.
so I contacted. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you are, and you are definitely an integral part of how it's changing and evolving right now. I like to just say the world is a little bit upside down, and definitely Zoom gatherings and calls are becoming more and more the way that we connect. And that's, of course, what we're bringing in and going to be offering the community far more. So I'm so glad that you'll be part of this. And that connection is so important. And I love that you mentioned you wanted to see what other women are doing, because even though there's a commonality that we're in our 50s, I like to say our midlife, because the age can vary, you from mid 40s to well into our 60s, we're all at slightly different spaces, but there's still a shared sisterhood. Now, I know for you, one of the things that I think stands you apart from some of us is our mindset is often we're in our 50s. And I know a lot of friends they're definitely empty nesters, or they're even becoming grandparents. But you actually represent, I think, a growing group of women who chose to have their children later in life. And, when you turned 50, you had at the time, what was a 5-year-old.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's you're still kind of in the thick of parenting. What's that been like for you?
Yeah. Oh, it's been amazing. It's so true. Like, when I look at my cohort, the people that I know and work with, most of my friends, their children have grown up, they're starting their own lives, they're empty nesters. And I'm here with I just turned 58 yesterday, and I have a 12-year-old son. Yeah.
How did I not know it was your birthday? Happy birthday.
Yeah. Just turned 58 yesterday. And and I have a 12-year-old son, and it's just amazing. It's really a gift. I always wanted children. And I never got married. I was on my own and thought, well, either I do this on my own or I won't have children. And it was very important to me to be a mother. So it was a long fertility journey, but at the age of 45, I had my son, and it was just like a miracle. It was like a dream come true. And it has been amazing. I say to people, it keeps me young. Like, it really does. Our lifestyle, as anyone knows who has kids, our lifestyle is very busy, very active. And I absolutely love being very active with them. So for me, it's wonderful. I know for some people who've raised their kids, they might go, oh my God, being a mother of a young child at that age, exhausting or whatever. But I got to do all the things I wanted to do in my 30s and 40s. So I was so ready to be a mother that this lifestyle is just perfect for me. It's fun. It keeps me young. And for me, it's just a perfect fit at this age.
Yeah. Yeah, when you said that, I was just joking when you're saying people that have their kids younger and they're like, oh, not for me. I'm like, yeah, we're already worn out.
Give yourself and a lot of people are kind of like, wow, you took that on.
But even though you're doing something a little different than what, say, the empty nester is doing, I look at it more in maybe a holistic, I don't know if that's the right word, but what I see is you're embarking on a new adventure. Your adventure is in parenthood, right? In motherhood. Whereas somebody else maybe has done the motherhood and they're now on an adventure, and it might be some of the things that you already did when you were younger.
Yes, that they
and
didn't
were free and single and maybe travel. But it's what I do notice, regardless of what stage or whether someone was a parent or wasn't a parent, I have yet to find a woman in her 50s that didn't take a major leap of something in her life. Right. And so sometimes that real, whoa, this is shifting for me. It can be hitting at 50 or at any age within, this midlife. Is there a time frame you can think where there was a real shift in yourself? Is there an age that you went, wow, and I want to celebrate this?
Yeah. Well, I would say joining the Fabulous at 50 group community really really was a turning point for me, because it really opened up a great world of meeting so many amazing women in midlife. So that was a really amazing time to join this group and to meet all the other great women I've met over the last 3.5 years. And when I got to 55, for some reason, that one really resonated with me. And I decided to throw myself a big birthday party at 55, because I kind of felt like, here I am, 50. I just looked great, 5'5", and I was feeling really happy with my life. It was a turning point for me because I was in my, 55, right in the middle. And also that was the year I could retire. So huge milestone for me.
Oh, so, how nice to retire at 55.
Yeah, I was able to retire at 55. On my birthday, when I was 55, I decided to stay until the next summer. So, but I could have put in my papers that day. That day I turned 55, I was eligible to retire, but I decided to stay for about another 7-8 months. But that was a huge milestone. So that kind of was a special time for me at 55, being in my mid 50s, 5'5", it looked like a great number, ready to retire. And then it looked like another big chapter was going to open up, because once I left my career, it was like, well, what am I doing now? And it was exciting to me.
Yeah, so that is exciting.
Yeah.
It is exciting. And I think it's wonderful, really, that you already had Fabulous at 50 in place.
Yeah.
Because often it is not uncommon for people to go, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Especially people that have long careers like yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's not just, and professions like nurses and doctors or teachers, not to say it's not the other, but when you have a title attached to it, like paramedic, it can make us feel like, oh my gosh, that's part of our identity. If I'm not that, what am I?
Yeah.
So I can imagine this is a new time. So I am so happy that you felt, in a sense, exhilarated that, okay, what's the next chapter?
Yeah, I really did. Luckily, I'm lucky to have felt that way. I was really looking forward to it. And I loved my career. I absolutely loved my career. It was the best job, the best fit for me. It was so rewarding. So, but I was ready at that time. After 32 years, it's like, okay, I've done that. I've done it. I've experienced it. I loved it. It's time for something else. So it wasn't like I'm closing a door and like, oh, there's nothing for me now. It was like, what's the next adventure, right? So that's the way I looked at it. I was ready to move on from that stage in my life. And I just knew that other things would be coming. And people said, what are you going to do? Do you have a plan? I said, not yet. I'm just going to retire, sit with it and see what happens. And that worked out really well for me. I had lots of interests and lots of things I wanted to do, but I wanted to let things just, happen the way they were happening, and I would find my way. Yeah. And it worked really well.
Good old fashioned coffee tastes really good when it's percolated.
Yeah. But I looked at it as a freedom, of course, freedom, flexibility. And then I knew that things would come my way if I just lived my life the way I live it. And the journey would sort of appear to me, and it has.
Fantastic. So I know in your bio, it does mention about, your desire for always personal growth. Can you share a bit about more your philosophy? Are you more personal growth? And this is something I've never heard from you, because I've never had the opportunity to ask. Yeah. Are you more read a book on personal development? Are you liking to take courses or seminars, or are you more just about self-reflection? I'm just curious as to what's your path? What's your route?
Yeah, a little bit of all of those things. Okay. All my life, I've been one of those people that loves to read about personal development and personal growth. I've been reading those books like, Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer. When I was a teenager, I was reading Wayne Dyer and Leo Buscaglia. And, I've been reading those books for years on personal development and just, opening up your life, right? So I was a reader, and also an experience. I tried to do things that would open my life up a bit. So, I did some wonderful trips where I went to Peru and Ecuador and traveled around and did these cool adventure trips. And one of my trips, I went to Costa Rica and volunteered with Habitat for Humanity. So nice. I threw myself out of my comfort zone sometimes just to see how that would go. So it was both reading and learning, and it was also doing things that were going to open me up to different ways of looking at things and different people.
Nice. Well, let's pretend that we're in the future. Anything that's holding us back right now has already been resolved. what do you have an adventure, like something in your mind percolating along? I like that word today. That you would like to do next? Is it a trip or some sort of?
For me, it's a really neat thing to look forward to, because I look forward to now traveling with my son. All the big trips I did were before I had my son, and my son and I have traveled together. We do little vacations to Florida and Mexico and things, but I'm really looking forward to when he's a couple years older and travel is opened up. And I would love to go to Europe with him.
Nice.
I'd love to bring him on a Habitat for Humanity trip, because I love those trips. I'd love to do a volunteer trip with him and have him get out there and, do wonderful work for people and see what that's like. So I really look forward to those things. So it's kind of a really different experience now that I can look forward to traveling with my son when he's a bit older and sharing those experiences with him.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, travel for kids is phenomenal. I love traveling with my children, and same thing. Like sometimes it was more the holiday trip, but that still opens them up to other cultures and what it's like. And I think it's so important, and I imagine that when you're there, you're like us. It's not a matter of, oh, we're coming in to have a vacation, and it's more, we're coming to admire this beautiful country, and they're always, and my children speak a couple different languages, and it's fun to give them a little push and say, try and speak in this language. Oh, I'm sure your son would just absolutely love that. I know we've been on, he's just the sweetest thing. Like we've been on calls where he's in the background there, and
he's a sweet guy.
He's a
very nice
definitely
guy.
Sweet guy. Now, you were talking about the different books that you've read in the past and personal development, but I'm just curious right now where you're at, especially people have been watching movies a lot more and reading books and taking that quiet introspective time. What has captivated you lately? Is there a book or a movie that's just really, or a mini series that's really got you enthralled at the moment?
Interesting. Well, our Fabulous at 50 group, we've had a book club for about 3 years now.
The Toronto group?
Yeah, the Toronto Fabulous at 50 group. We've got a book club. So and it's been really opening me up to interesting books that the women we all take turns choosing. I'm reading a really good one now that it speaks to me, because it's about a guy that did a lot of volunteer work, and it's called 3 Cups of Tea.
Yes.
And it's about I love that. And so that really hit home for me, because I've done volunteer vacations and all the wonderful work he did to build schools for children. So I love books like that, those kind of books. I'm reading a lot on mindfulness. I'm really interested in mindfulness, and I'm enjoying it. So John Kabat-Zinn, just books about opening your mind up to a more mindful way of living is what I'm drawn to. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's impacted. You mentioned, I heard, like when you were talking about your reading these types of books even back in high school.
Oh yeah.
Was there somebody that had a big impact on you that got you into it, or did you just naturally, you walked into the library one day and picked up one of these books? I'm just curious what got you interested way back then.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think it was either of my parents. My parents were both very inspirational to me, but they weren't the type that would introduce me to those books. But my parents were lovely people, and my dad was inspired me in a lot of ways. But no, I found myself at a very young age being very a self-explorer. Like I wanted to learn more about myself. I wanted to learn about people. When I went to university, I decided to study sociology, because I just was very interested in people and social interactions and things. So that's always been my personality. Surprisingly, most people probably wouldn't believe it now, but I used to be very shy growing up. And I think it was my way of, I was very shy, painfully shy, not very outgoing, very social, but very self-conscious and shy. And I think inside, I didn't want to be like that. And I worked very hard to not be like that. Every job I took when I was in high school was with the public, out there, to get myself out there. So I think I was always one of those people that just had a natural interest in exploring myself, improving myself, and so it was just I was drawn naturally to those type of things. Always found them fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I raised my hand at one point when you were talking a lot of people assume, like, when I am being social, I think I'm very social and I can chat and I can be outgoing, but I don't know, sometimes I call myself a little bit of a hermit. If I'm at home, I can be totally at home in my own company for like days on end. And I like the way you even mentioned there's a difference between being shy and self-conscious. They go hand in hand, but not always. If I was
Mm.
feeling comfortable in a situation, I could be fairly outgoing. I could try and take that boldness, but I as a youth and younger was actually quite self-conscious.
Yeah.
I think I was, yeah. So we have a little bit in common.
Yeah, you
with
can
that.
relate
And
to
I'm
that.
sure
Yeah.
there's other women out there listening going, yeah,
Yeah.
so being social and being out there sometimes is a bit of a learned skill.
Oh, it
And
was for me. Yeah.
yeah, because actually, I'll just interject this one little, one of the things that almost shocked me as an adult, like in my 40s, when I was after my divorce, I did some actual personal development courses. I didn't even know they really existed until then. I got invited to something fun and exciting and went, wow, I've learned a lot. And one of the things that just kind of went, whoa, caught me off guard was it was talking about embarrassment and how they classified it as a grungy. It's on the negative side of things, and that embarrassment often is a way, there's a payoff. What do you get to not do if you're too embarrassed about it? And how embarrassment holds you back. And embarrassment was one of my, ways that it held me back from really doing what I wanted to do. So when I learned and there's some training and just some mind, training, shall we say, practices to overcome embarrassment. And I'm talking embarrassment over all sorts of things. It holds people back. And I have a way more joyful life not being embarrassed and now being able to laugh at myself when something goes wrong. I mean, years ago, like even just when I read your bio out before, I stumbled on it's like rented tongue. I can joke about that and move on. Like 10, 15 years ago, I would have been mortified and beaten myself up about it afterwards. And, maybe I should re-record it and it's not good enough. And now it's like, we're humans, sometimes we stutter.
Yeah, exactly. Just sort of accepting how life doesn't always go the way we want. And we don't always, do exactly how we want to do, but just sort of, it's sort of like, don't take yourself too seriously, almost sort of like that. Like, yeah, very much. And I'm trying to teach my son that, because he's a very outgoing child and he's very social, but he doesn't want to do anything in front of people. He doesn't want to speak in front of people or do his piano recital. I'm trying to guide him to try and get over that and
share that gift.
And I told him, I'm telling you from personal experience, I was like you. I was terrified to speak in front of people. I was so shy and self-conscious and didn't want people looking at me. And I said to him, you know what I did? I forced myself to do those things. And I was sweating when I was waiting to go and speak in front of people. I remember. And I just did it anyway. And I said, you do it, you keep doing it, you put yourself through it. And then it's become fun. Like now I really enjoy speaking in front of people. And if you told me 25 years ago, I would enjoy it, I would have said, you're crazy.
I agree. Yeah. And when we learn that it's about the people, not us. And if they've come and they want to hear what you have to say, it's because they're looking for that chance to go, I could be in your seat now. And maybe you're inspiring somebody to come forward and things like piano. I had a girlfriend that grade 10 piano, like she was amazing at piano, but trying to get her to play, like even in front of me or a couple other friends, it's like, no. And I'd be so frustrated because I'm going, I don't care that it's perfect. I'm at like a kindergarten. I'm not even at grade 1. Please share your gift with the world and bring joy to other people.
Yeah. Right? So I learned to just let go of that self-consciousness. It was a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but I learned to let go of being self-conscious, not caring what people think about me, all that stuff, it just doesn't matter anymore. It's just really about what do I want to do? And you're right. If you hold back, you're holding back a lot of gifts that you could be giving other people by not stepping out there and showing people what you've got and what you've got to offer,
Absolutely. Like if we all just give and we all receive, then it's a much more amazing world. Well, on that note, I just want to say thank you so much for stepping into the role of the Fabulous 50 director. And I so look forward to our collaborations over this next year and beyond. But before we sign off, my signature question here that, I ask everybody is, can you share just your 3 pearls of wisdom or 3 pearls of just what you want to tell people, maybe that, like a good takeaway that somebody can go and implement right now?
Okay. All right. So the first one jumps right into my mind. One of my favorite books is The 4 Agreements.
Yes,
one of my favorite books. It's like a Bible. And one of the things that I found so freeing in life is when I embrace the agreement of don't take anything personally. And it sort of goes back to what we just talked about, about being self-conscious and everything, is don't take anything personally. I found when I started living that way, and not taking things personally and not absorbing other people's stuff, it was very freeing. So I would say if people could get to the point where they don't take things personally, very freeing, very freeing.
Beautiful. I'm going to second that one.
Okay, good.
I'm going to second your number one choice.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Read that book. And specifically I think that point was the most freeing for me as well.
Oh my gosh. It just takes a weight off your shoulders. And it's really true. It's if you don't take things personally, your life becomes very different and how you look at life.
Yeah.
Another one would be, I was having a chat with a friend who was asking some advice about, she's a Syrian refugee and she's trying to find her way in the country and get a job. And she was asking for his advice. And I said, well, one of the things I think is a huge life lesson is life is really had to do with how your perspective, your point of view, your attitude. So even if I have something negative, I try and look at the positive side to it, no matter what that is. And I gave her the example of COVID, a lot of really awful things are going on. But what I try and do is take a situation and look at the positive side to it. What positive things can come out of this? What have I learned or whatever? So I would say a pearl of wisdom would be to try and look at things from the other side, not always from a negative side. Turn it around to a positive. Try and take an uplifting approach to things, into life. Absolutely.
And, what always comes to mind when we talk about it, because of course, my work is a lot of, using mindset shifting, the belief reparenting. It's kind of back to the old fashioned saying, there's a silver lining in every cloud, that saying of no matter what negative is going on in the world, without detracting from that, there is also positive happening at the same time. So that's beautiful advice. And your third one?
My third one would be really simple, is have fun with life. Yeah. We talked about try not to take yourself seriously. Really try and focus on having fun in life. And that's not always easy because people go through some really tough things. But don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to laugh. Don't forget to do things. And don't forget to be good to yourself. Self-care, take care of yourself, which is part of fun. Do something for yourself, have fun, and, enjoy life. Here comes my cat.
Beautiful. Remind me your cat's name.
This is Sasha.
Sasha, you joined us just for the end. You came in to say goodbye.
Yeah, life is short. So have fun, be good to yourself, and, just make it a great ride.
Beautiful. Oh, Roberta, thank you so much for being on today's episode. And I look forward to, as I mentioned already, I look forward to the collaboration and those women who choose to be Fabulous at 50 members, which is launching in December of 2020. So I don't know when people are going to be listening to this. They could be listening in the future. Then, come and be a member and you'll be able to hang out with both of us. And we are going to be doing some wonderful things that do offer this fun in our, we're going to have a week of social activities. We'll have a week of sensational self-care, a week of movement, all things you've touched on, and a variation on a book club and book discussions. So, all that alignment is something that fills our life up, and are a fantastic example of how it really does all come together and make a fulfilling, wonderful life for you.
Thank you. Yeah. And I would have to say, I would encourage people the same thing to join, because just being part of Fabulous 50 has opened my life up so much. The people I've met, the women I've met, amazing women. We've had so much fun together. So it's an amazing community, really is.
Fantastic. Well, I know that I think in the spring or so, we should have you back on again, and we'll talk a little bit more about the different activities and what you've been able to do with your Fabulous 50 Toronto group. And we'll carry on the conversation then.
Great. I look forward to it.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for listening in.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. You've been listening to the Fabulous at 50 podcast with your host, Joanne Neweduk. Join us again for more inspirational interviews on topics that matter to you. If you like what you've heard on today's episode, check out the liner notes, or to learn more about this vibrant community that celebrates women over 50, please visit fabulousat50.com. That's www.fabulousat50.com.